What is good, everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition of ABell at Night. And tonight we are joined by a very special guest, my very own Shnukems, my personal, lovely, beautiful girlfriend, Shnukems. Shnukems, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
with that, I think the number one thing that we could talk about to start this episode is what is it like having a boyfriend, an entrepreneur, a young man trying to figure out himself who's come across another great idea of his to create his own show, to get involved into content media. I know I've been doing it for a while. I've honestly done it our entire relationship. But I just want to know what it's like from your perspective, seeing me try so many things and exploring so many different avenues.
From my perspective, I think it's honestly beautiful because we have very different personalities in that way. I am kind of living through you doing these things, and I think it's really nice to see you put yourself out there and explore new options and new ideas and just having such a creative mindset, because that's not exactly how my mind is. And I wish I could be more like that, but it's just not me. So I do really enjoy seeing you take up any opportunity you have and all the new ideas, just putting them to work.
Now, what's the limit? Like, when is it like I can't do this shit no more? Like, what's the idea where it's like it's not even what I stand for?
Honestly, I think the only time it would ever get to that point is if you decide to quit your 9 to 5 job and don't have any backup plan. You're like, I have 5 subscribers and I'm just gonna do this full time. And you just had no backup plan, but that's it. That's all you're gonna do. So at that point, I'm like, okay, he's tripping. He's taking it too far.
So should we punish? So who should be in punishment between men and women? Is it the woman who gave up on the man who did go and pursue his dreams and he went full-fledged even though it wasn't an ideal time? Or is it the man who believes in a dream when somebody else is saying stick with something that works while you're trying to chase that dream? Who should get punished more?
I would say the first option, just because I'm never the type to tell somebody not to go after their dreams or what their heart is telling them to do with that they want to put their all into to be successful with. But I think leaving somebody when they're trying to pursue their goals and dreams, even if it's not the exact way that you want it, a lot of those people end up seeing their partner successful from a TV screen or something like that, or hearing about their success. So I've never really been one to be turned off by it, but I do think, like I said, there would be a limit as to you still gotta pay your bills, you still gotta take care of your family yourself. So if you're just completely giving that up to just record social media content 24/7 and it's not even on and popping yet, then it's kind of okay, priorities might be a little messed up.
And I won't take no offense to this at all, but have you ever left somebody, or have you ever came to a real realization with what they wanted to do or what they had going on, you had to back out? And if so, what was it? Where it's like, I can't be a part of this. This man looks lame, or it's like, yeah, this shit's going nowhere.
No, honestly, I don't think I've ever been like that or felt like that in any relationship or any part of my life.
I got you. Well, once again, I just want to say thank you for being so supportive. I'm not good now, but I know I'll be great in the future. And I do believe it takes a very strong woman to accomplish that. And also takes strong women in your life. That includes mothers, family members. For you polygamous brothers, I'm a monogamous man. For any man in polygamy, all your women in line and straight. Not my lifestyle, but I do think it does take that strong femininity to bridge you over. If you manage it well and you're not chasing it, you're just receiving the good ones in your life to continue and move forward. But using that to go straight into the bullshit, Shnukems, I know we have a lot of fun conversations about things that are going on in culture and things that are going on in the news. I just want to shine a light on 2 conversations to end tonight's episode. But the first one's a really, really good one. I want to hear your perspective and continue our perspectives on the Shannon Sharpe situation. Now, I'm not really the messy type. This platform will never be a messy man's platform, or I'll never speak like the blog speak. But I do think the point of this show is to understand and get a perspective of what other people are experiencing and relate them to our own experiences, or at least what we believe. So with that said, a little backstory with Shannon Sharpe. We know that he was dealing with a 19-year-old girl. They were exchanging graphic messages and probably did plenty of things on the other side. Truly stuff that's none of our business. But the things that have come to light is that Shannon Sharpe has lost opportunities to this. He's potentially paid out a settlement. He was not convicted of any of the heinous things that were put out there, but it's clear to see he lost a lot of deals, brands, partnerships that he has. He lost his job with ESPN. I just want to know from your perspective how you feel about an older gentleman losing opportunities because of dealing with a younger lady.
I do feel kind of on both sides. Like, one, that's what you get. You deserve that because you have no business messing with a teenager at 55 years old or however you are. I think that men or women with a lot of money and power, they just do stupid things, and I just don't understand. I personally don't see what type of connection. Well, I do see what type of connection, and it could only be a sexual connection that a 55-year-old and a 19-year-old woman have. So, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, anybody in that situation, and you have a lot of money and you're messing with a girl, like, it's just giving gold digger. Like, you know that person will do whatever they want or that they can to get as much money out of you as possible. Whether this is somebody that's just selling feet pics or booty pics or something, like, to just a random man or whatever, or if somebody has $50 billion, like, they're gonna do whatever they can to try to get as much money out of any man as possible. So I think that he was just stupid for letting it go there and get to that point. I don't even think the girl's cute. I don't even understand why he let it get to this point, or what he saw in this 19-year-old that he, like, let her take his whole Hall of Fame fortune.
Well, now let's stop there. See, that's why I want to separate Shannon Sharpe from the actual situation at play. Because he didn't lose everything. He didn't lose a Hall of Fame career. He didn't lose it. He still has his show. He's still going to be successful. He still has a very well accomplished career. I think I want to focus more on opportunity. So, like, when I think of this situation, just me not being like a blogger, or me not, I don't put none of my energy on people, right? It's about situations, right? The Bible is a huge book of stories, of experiences that we could carry in our own personal lives. And that's why it's the pastor's job to relate the message to us in a way that we could understand it in our own lives. So, with that being said, I can't think of his fortune. I barely think about him losing his job with ESPN, but I can take Shannon Sharpe out of the situation and either plug myself into it or plug what the ideal is going into that situation. So if I'm 55 years old and I'm having sexual cravings for these younger ladies and not for women my own age, and I have an abundance of money that allows me to do certain things that other men can't, which I do believe in my heart, men are doing that at 55 years old. Like, I don't think it's a money thing. I think anybody could be in this same scenario when you have like a hypersexuality look at life. For me personally, I'm just only expecting that when I'm the age of 55, that even if I need to have sex with a prostitute, it wouldn't be with a 19-year-old girl. It wouldn't be that somebody that I'm double, almost triple their age. I think that's the bigger thing at play here, where it's like, at what point does power get to your head where it's like, I can do it just to do it. I could do it because somebody has the escort service available. I can do it just because I could DM whoever I want on Instagram. So I think when certain people get to certain levels of power and structure, and then you could start matching it to opportunity. If Shannon Sharpe had the opportunity to go from UPS driver to UPS manager and lost it because of a 19-year-old girl, I would think it was just as piss poor as losing millions of dollars with a company like ESPN. Like, at 55 years old, I don't want to be losing opportunities to my sexual cravings.
I definitely understand where you're coming with that, but I think that the whole situation did happen because of power and money. If people at our class are having the same type of conversations, if I'm talking to a broke-ass 55-year-old man, or a man who's living off of $50,000 a year, I'm not going to take this man to court for the sexual things that he told me over text, or the sexual things that he made me do to him, and know that I'm going to get. So a lot of what has to do is because of the power and money that this man had, because if it happened to somebody in our class or a lower class, it wouldn't have even gotten to court. It wouldn't have even gotten there. So it's like hard to say, like, oh yeah, power, money isn't everything, like take the money out of the equation. But if money was out of the equation, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have gotten there. The girl would have just looked stupid and deleted him on Instagram or whatever that they were talking on. So I think money and power do play a big part in it. And I don't think that any 19-year-old man or 19-year-old woman and a 55-year-old have anything in common besides sex. And I think that you both kind of know what you're getting yourselves into if that's kind of the role you're playing. But how many 19-year-olds are sleeping with 55-year-old men that don't have money? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I haven't been a 55-year-old man, and I damn sure ain't been a 19-year-old girl.
Some, but I'm a very conspiracy theory person, and I do believe that something about higher elites have a thing for teenagers. And it's not even just higher elites. It is men in general or women that are just predators and attracted to younger kids, younger people.
One thing that I've realized in my life is as you grow up as a man, these change. The money that you're making at 18 should not be the same. And don't get me wrong, there are people who have different walks of life and different journeys who don't get as many opportunities. But since I've been 18 years old, every year in my life has presented a new opportunity of growth in money, career, opportunity. Of course, some people feel like you missed out on life because you didn't go to college. That's totally not true. As you get older, you will be exposed to more opportunities for more money, opportunity, wisdom, freedom. I mean, you naturally just get more opportunities. At 18, you could smoke. At 21, you could drink. At 25, you could rent a car. Like, there's just certain things that naturally grow as you get older. I kind of lost my point here, but
yeah.
Where I was speaking about opportunity is, I think that there are plenty of men who ruin opportunities due to their sexual cravings. By the time that they get to 55, generally speaking, the man who's making $15 an hour when he was 18 years old, by the time he's 55 and he's making, let's say, six figures, let's say he's making $100,000, and he just wants, for some reason, like, his sexual urges is like, my exchange for the more money I have, the more power I have, the more wisdom I have over a younger lady is what I value, to the point where I will ruin opportunities endeavoring in it. Now, I get what you're saying as far as lawsuit, but think about it like this. Imagine if there's more emotions involved. And remember, she sued him in a civil case, potentially for money, allegedly for money. But
even if he didn't plead guilty,
imagine if somebody doesn't sue you. Imagine
settled.
if they make heinous allegations against you because they're spiteful towards you, because it's a young lady who's not emotionally intelligent enough to handle the fact that a man has a wife and kids or something like that. So they start lying. I'm not saying that this has, I don't know about this situation. I'm just giving a different scenario to get understand.
Not even lying though. Like, I mean, you can lie and make things extreme, but in those situations, the man is still wrong, or woman, whatever, vice versa. That person is still wrong because you have a wife and kids and you're entertaining a 19-year-old. So it doesn't matter if I extend anything, if I extend the truth a little bit, if I exaggerate it, he knows what the fuck he did was wrong, and that he's gonna have to sit there and either give me some hush money so I don't tell his wife and kids and break up his family of 15 years, or like he's gonna have to just be exposed to it.
And that's why I say it's not a hierarchy thing. It's not a
it's not, but it's a different form of it. I mean,
absolutely.
You're still asking for hush money. You're still asking for something in return. Some of these women are asking them to leave their wives and family for them because they fell in love with the man who's been married for 15 years and they've been having an affair with him. So there's always something in exchange. It's never just nothing in exchange.
But here's my point. And you're 100% correct. My only point is by the time I personally, and guess what? They say you're supposed to learn from other people. Never hate. Oh, I think it's Farrakhan who said it. But it's like, it's either, don't never laugh at people, learn from people. So me as a 27-year-old man, if I look at Shannon Sharpe and say, damn, he's a fool, I'm only putting myself in the same regards that I can make the same foolish mistake. But if I could learn from that and understand that in my 27-year-old brain is losing opportunities at 55 years old worth sexual cravings and getting probably too far in my sexual cravings with somebody who's not only half my age, but close to a quarter of my, close to a quarter of my age, close to 33% of my age.
From your perspective right now, where you are at or where he could have been at 20 years ago, it's like, no, it's not worth it. But
I mean, if I was a tight end in the NFL, I still wouldn't be worried about a 19-year-old woman. But if I'm a single man and I'm 27 years old and I'm doing my thing in the NFL, it might make sense to deal with women who are in their, for me personally, still like 20, But
Yeah.
with that being said, it's the sexual urge, the sexual craving, it's the heinousness of it, it's the lies of it, it's the non-maturity, because a lot of it that was built together by a rich white man, Tony Busby, which was the lawyer that was involved. He's just stipulating emotions from a 19-year-old girl who was dealing with a 55-year-old man. So as
And
a
also, I feel
55-year-old
like-
man, the number one thing I could learn as a 27-year-old man is, if I could learn anything about thinking with my brain, is, am I willing to lose opportunities 20 years from now, right? Damn near 30 years from now. 30 years from now, am I willing to lose opportunities due to my thing swinging in my pants? And I just don't see it now. But you should be worried about developing yourself as a man who would not lose an opportunity due to that. I ain't against doing what you gotta do. I ain't against paying for what you gotta pay for. I'm not against any of that stuff. I'm just saying, in his conscious mind, like, are you thinking like, damn, I could really lose opportunities based off of this? And if he's not thinking about that, I think it's great for any man under the age of 55 to think about that, like, well, shit, I'm willing to lose everything about these little girls. That's cool, player.
And
It's
I mean,
legal.
I could see it. Like, he probably, like, nobody gets in a situation like that and is like, this girl could potentially fuck me over. Like, you're having fun with it. You guys are both seeming to enjoy it. I doubt if anybody in the right mind had any slightest of hint of, like, this person might fuck me over or something like that. You probably don't keep going, especially when you have such a big name for yourself. But also, too, I think that when people get older, they like to feel like they still got it going on and that they could still get all these young cats and everything like that, and that they can still get anything that they want. So I do think that's a lot of the reason, too, why a lot of older people go after these younger kids, because it gives them some sort of boost of confidence that they still got it.
Okay. Now, I want to stay on this a little bit, but I want to take a little deep turn. And I actually have another place I want to take it, but we're going to take it here first. Will AI replace OnlyFans models for 55-year-old men?
I saw something saying that females...
Like, what if men who have these hypersexual lives, or any man, right? What if brothels in the future are going to be AI robots? What if people have role play dolls inside their house that they could dress however they want and do whatever they got to do with them? Like, does that completely cut out situations like this? But people aren't going to fix their addictions. They're just going to find better ways to do them, right?
mean,
so if
I
you
don't
have a
think
fully
I don't
autonomous
think-
robot that does the nastiest, weirdest shit that you could think of in your head, and this goes into like your hierarchies and oligarchies or your higher class men, because they're going to be the first people to afford it.
I think they're going to afford it. What was that movie that we watched? Remember, he started cheating on his wife with a robot?
With Megan
Was it
Fox,
Megan?
excuse me, not
Yeah,
Megan
Megan
Good.
Fox.
Megan Fox.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's like that. I think that, like, obviously the excitement will be there and, like, the ideal, but I mean, yes, it'll have a personality, but one, I don't know if they can make the arousement feel exactly like it would be with human connection. And also, too, I mean, right now people they already have blow up dolls. They already have all these toys and things like that. I think the only thing that would differ is that, like, you can build a connection with this AI robot and, like, you know, and have it connect with you. You know, it's like deeper than just sex or pleasure, because that robot will start to adhere to everything that you like and what feels good to you and what sounds good to you and what they want to hear. So I do think I don't know if it'll ever. Now, there are those creeps, you know, like, I've
watched Instagram videos where I know for a fact that shit was funnier than what a real influencer could have did. Like the new AI influencer videos,
AI.
like I know that those videos are better than what somebody else could have did. Like I've never seen a gorilla do street talk. It is more interesting. It is more entertaining. Like it does tap into the monkey side of my brain that's like, oh, this is dopamine. This is a good video. This is a quick hit.
And I think it just depends on which direction humanity goes. I mean, especially here in the United States with everything going on, people might literally start wanting to turn away from being housewives and having family and kids. So I do think if things do start separating that way, then yes, on both sides for women and men. I did see a study that said that they thought women were going to connect first with AI and have like these attachments because, you know, but men still want, or like they wouldn't be actually dating, that they would have more of a relationship with AI. And,
I don't see that at all. I see men first. There's so many men who want
if
the
you're
quick
thinking
fix
about
of
it
that love.
outside of, but I don't know, I went down this whole, I don't know. But anyways, Men get a lot more out of relationships with women than what men get, as far as they have somebody that's taking care of their kid and cooking and cleaning and, you know, all of these things, that they're saying that men benefit more out of a relationship than women do, which is why they think women's gonna pull away first and go towards AI, because they might get more out of AI rather than having to do everything for a man and AI, or they could just do it for themselves and have AI as a connection. But they still, obviously everybody still has to clean up after themselves, take care of themselves. But when you're having to do it for somebody else, that's why they say in platonic relationships, men get more pleasure out of a marriage. Married men are happier than married women.
I ain't been married. So look, once again.
So that's just what the studies show.
I gotta
I'm no
experience
researchers,
it.
but that's
Yeah.
what the studies show, and they do say that they do think, just due to that statistic, that women will connect first with AI.
Every man that I know who's married is, generally speaking, a very, very happy man. I'm not gonna say that men are happier than women, because first of all, I've never been married. Second of all, because I don't know enough people to be married for it to be true. But I do know men who are very happy in their relationships. But I also know the women are, from my perspective, are just as happy. So I don't know. That's a heads or tail. But anyways, now I want to. So the fact that we're staying on this relationship cheating all the way from AI to everything, I want to bring it back one more time, just because I don't know when's the next time I'll have a guest who wants to talk about this one. But with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about the people who got caught at the Coldplay concert and they were all embarrassed and everything. I think it's the exact same thing. Missing opportunity. So don't laugh, learn. I can say a joke and anybody listening could laugh, which I'm about to do, because that shit was ridiculous. But remember, the goal here is to learn. Don't laugh at people, learn from people. To lose the opportunity of being a CEO at any company. I don't care if he got it because of white privilege. I don't care if he got it because he was the hardest working student throughout his life. I don't care if he got it because he is naturally born for the chief executive officer job. Losing the opportunity at that age, right? Like, this is the golden years. Now, he's probably making well over $1 million salary. I don't know if he got stock share. I don't know what. I'm just sure it was.
I'm sure he got it all, and she did too.
Exactly. Losing opportunities based off of your behaviors after the age of 55. I think they were older than 55. It's just losing certain opportunities at certain places in life. When you lose opportunities young, at least you could blame it on being young. When you lose opportunities based off of not knowing, at least it's because you didn't know. The past 3 situations we talked about, whether it's with the robots, whether it's with older men with younger ladies, or whether it's with just having maritals with your coworkers. It's like all these situations are avoidable, but the only thing I can do is learn from them, because I'm not subject to being in the same situations as them. I just have decisions I have to make sure I'm not, or if I do make the decision to do so, I can't lie and say like, damn, it's not like I didn't know what could go wrong here.
And they all do know it. That's the biggest thing. I think social media plays a big part in a lot of these things, because if one that never blew up on social media, maybe just inside of his job found out that he was having, or maybe his wife just found out that him and his coworker were having an affair, I don't know if he would have lost his job. I don't know if all of these things would have actually happened to him. Like, yeah, you still lose your wife. You still got caught cheating at work. But social media does play such a big part on these things, and it's just completely blown up, that I feel like whoever the CEO's boss is in that company, they had to do something just because of social media. I don't know if it did not blow up on social media that this man would have lost his job as a CEO.
Well, and here's what I'll say. Don't laugh, learn. So everybody's laughing on social media, or everybody has an opinion on social media. Social media is potentially the reason that this was caused, right? Yeah. Learn. So what can you learn? And I hope, and guess what? The lesson learned for you could be, okay, well, you just got to be even more secretive, like how they were in the 90s. Like, you just got to make sure you avoid all cameras. Everybody has a camera. Everything gets recorded now. But if that's the lesson you learn, take that lesson and run with it. I ain't mad at you, player. But if the lesson to be learned is like, you know what? It does make more sense to be single. You know what? It makes more sense for everybody to know I'm a pig and want to deal with younger ladies. you know what? I shouldn't be doing that. Whatever your lesson is, just learn from the mistakes of others. Learn from the decisions of others. There's no such thing as mistakes. There's just decisions, and you have to live with the ones you make.
Yeah, and you see how it affects them and other people. But I think that you can only, in some situations, I am a firm believer of sometimes you do have to physically experience something yourself in order to really let it click to you. Like things that I've been through as far as getting in trouble or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that I probably still would have been doing the same shit up until maybe this year, or still could have been doing it like a lot of people do, if I didn't have an actual like reality check of like, oh shit, yeah, you can't do that. So I am a firm believer of something might need to happen for you to actually understand the severity of multiple situations.
And with that being
I think
said,
a lot
I
of
would
people
even
think that.
I would even say that with my son, because it's like there's certain things that I'm watching him do, and I'm like, damn, he needs to hit his head so he knows that he can't do that again.
Yeah.
Like I could tell
Exactly.
him, but I know he's gonna do it anyways. So it's like you have to hit your head, and then you know for the rest of your life, like, damn, I can't do that unless I want to experience this pain again. Which,
Right.
generally speaking, they don't want to experience that pain again. So I
Exactly.
agree with you have to hit your head. It's just how many times can you watch other people hit their head where you're like, no, I still need to hit my head too. If everybody jumps off of the roof, does that mean you're gonna jump off the roof? Like I remember one time Penny Proud said it on the Proud Family. She was like, if I survive. And it's like, duh, you're gonna survive. You're gonna make so many decisions that other people that you've actually learned not to do those decisions. And you know you're gonna survive, but it's like, why would you even set yourself up if you did know better? All three situations are pretty brand new. The AI one's not really a situation. But those two situations, relatively brand new. We've seen similar things, we've heard similar things, but the goal is just only to learn. So if you didn't learn that you shouldn't be a 55-year-old man paying $15,000 for a cheek, then I don't know what the hell you just heard us
But
talking.
I think with that, though, there probably are plenty of men his age with his amount of money that are probably seeing the situation, and they're probably in their own situation by themselves, and I guarantee you it's not going to stop it from them. Maybe it'll make them look at it a little differently, but so many people just feel like they're unstoppable and that it won't happen to them until it actually does happen to them. So everybody could be, there's probably plenty of his colleagues or whoever that he works with, makes a lot of money with, that have probably been in similar situations, or that got lucky, like, damn, I was just talking to that 18-year-old last week. I'm glad that, like, this could have been me, you know, like, damn. So I think that, I don't know if it necessarily stops people until it happens to you. Personally, and it could happen to somebody around you, somebody close, but when you're hearing about it online, or you know, even like you hear people, just anything like bad situations that happen to other people, and it's just like, oh well, that couldn't be me, or yeah, I see it, but I mean, what are the odds of it actually happening to you, you know? So I think like, yeah, you might look at it a little differently, but like also in about 3 years from now, nobody's gonna be like, damn, I probably shouldn't message this 19-year-old because that one thing that happened with Shannon Sharpe 3 years ago, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't think anybody's like that's what's gonna
anybody
register.
who wants to live like that at his age, which granted, Shannon Sharpe's a single man. He could do as he pleases. Him being with the 19-year-old girl, it could be different for other people. I'm specifically talking about him losing opportunities. I believe he lost opportunities because he let the relationship get out of hand, or he was never in control in the first place. Because any relationship that you were ever in control of generally doesn't lead to you losing your job. When a man cheats on his wife and takes her to a Coldplay concert, or if he's separate from his wife but goes to a Coldplay concert and he feels instant embarrassment, it means he was never in control in the first place. Because if he played it smooth, they would have kept holding each other. If he was separated from his wife and he's out there living his life, they would have just kept holding it. They would have kept it player. It's the same thing that happens when you catch your kid doing something wrong that they know they shouldn't be doing, but they're going to have to learn the lesson. There has to be a lesson learned, and that's that embarrassment that both sides are probably feeling. The moment you get caught, you like they ain't even know what to reach for. They was just reaching for shit. Like they reach for their seat. Like they ain't shit. We saw you, player. So much so that they learned their lesson from the singer in the moment. The singer said they're either very camera shy or they're having an affair, because it's that prevalent how bad the shit you're doing, like a badass little kid. Badass little kids will do the most awkward, strangest shit in the world that indicates that they're doing something wrong instead of standing there the way they're supposed, because obviously there's a lesson that needs to be learned.
That is funny, because that is like the exact comparison.
55
like, you
plus.
just know a kid is doing something you think shouldn't be doing. Like,
so I can't imagine being 55 and my mom tells me like, your ass ain't supposed to be dealing with them little girls. Like, damn, Ma, that's what you told me when I was 25. You know you ain't supposed to be dealing with no 18-year-old girl, boy. You 25. What? Damn. Like, boy, you know you ain't supposed to be dealing with no young ladies. You 35. 35. Imagine your mama telling you that. You know you ain't supposed to be playing with them fast-ass little girls.
You know, one thing I will say about the CEO is I am glad. I'm not glad about it, but I do have more respect that it was an old woman. Usually they'd be like the 19-year-old that he was going to be at that Coldplay concert with. But he was right there with his old lady.
Because it's the embarrassment factor. So if it would be scary if it was a 19-year-old girl. That shit would have looked crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least it was somebody his fucking old age.
That shit would have been crazy. So if it was a 19-year-old girl, that shit would have been crazy.
So imagine how much more extreme it would have been, though, if he did. Like, he already lost
it. It would be a different meme, though. So imagine if he would have kept holding the 19-year-old girl. People would just be like, oh, old creep with young lady.
Right.
And then they would have figured out he's married and all this stuff. But don't forget the point is how he was going to be embarrassed regardless, because when you're doing some shit you know you shouldn't be doing.
In public is crazy.
You feel as a grown man, as a little kid, babies can't comprehend that. But even some of these old people make mistakes too, and they like everybody does it. Oh, I messed up. I just could only hope that we learn from the mistake of others and don't laugh at people. Really learn from what they do. And if you find yourself in the same situation, just remember all that laughing you was doing at other people. But anyways, just to finish on our last topic, we ran kind of long on that one. Okay, Shnukems, I just want to hear your opinion. Once again, I want to take away celebrity. I don't like bashing people. That's not how I'm ever going to build my platform, but I do like to learn perspectives of other people. And Nick Cannon actually had a great perspective that he would never want his daughters to date a man like himself. Now, instead of giving you more context, I want you to take Nick Cannon out. Think of Nick Cannon and his level, but take Nick Cannon out and tell me, how do you feel about that statement based off of what you know of a Nick Cannon style lifestyle, the amount of children he has, and kind of where he sits in like the man is just as a man?
I mean, I think it's a very deep statement. I've always kind of felt that way. I felt like I've probably even told you, like you raising your son, that you are raising somebody's future husband. You are raising somebody's future boyfriend, and you're going to raise him right. You're going to do things, you've always said that, like, oh, I don't want Austin to think that he can be single while dating a girl or three girls at the same time. Like, I'm going to teach him he needs to be single when he's single and in a relationship when he's in a relationship. So I think that is very important to think, is that, like, we are raising kids in the next generation, and that you don't want to raise somebody that you wouldn't want your kids to be with, or you don't want to be somebody that you wouldn't want your daughter or son to be with. So I think it's a very deep person it's a deep statement from just a human aspect of, you want to raise somebody or be somebody that you would be proud of, one, or two, that you wouldn't mind if your daughter was dating. If you were treating me like shit and we had a daughter, you wouldn't sit there and be like, oh, I wanted my daughter to date somebody just like me. So it's just not if you were treating me like shit. Why? I don't see that being. Huh?
And I'll speak for my daughters after, if I ever end up having a daughter. My son should follow my philosophy because I believe it's the correct philosophy. He's going to make his own decisions in life, but I just think it's the true, correct philosophy. And that's the example that I will show. When you are single, you should focus on being as single as possibly can be. I don't care if that's from a sexual standpoint. I don't care if it's from a partner's standpoint. I don't care if it's any standpoint in the world. When you are single, you should conduct and act as single as you possibly can. When you are in a committed monogamous relationship, you should focus on conducting yourself as a person in a monogamous relationship. I personally don't get into the polygamy thing. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how you can have a wife, a girlfriend, and a mistress, or however it's explained in that realm. But if that is your lifestyle, I do think you should be focused on that lifestyle. Now, my problem is when people want to be single, but they're in a committed relationship, or people want a committed relationship, but they're acting 110% single. I don't think that I would ever set that standard. So if I was completely beating my Shnukems and I was a crazy Greek animal who just demanded power at all times, I would only expect my son to grow up to be that person. You know why? Because that's the example I showed. I wouldn't think like, damn, like my son really beats women. I'd be like, nah, I beat the shit out of women my whole life. It's crazy. I hope that doesn't.
I just think that, yes, that is exactly how it happens. Like, yeah, you are honestly your father's daughter, whatever the saying is. You are your parents. You're a different version of your parents. But if you do get to a maturity standpoint, say that you were a gangbanger, whatever, but you at some point flipped your life around, you wouldn't want your son to grow up and be a gangbanger too.
No,
or
but
maybe
what
your
I would
child
do
makes you change from that lifestyle, and you should always want better for your kid than what you have for you. I don't care if you are the most wealthy person ever. I think that 98% of people probably want better for their kids than the life that they had, except for the ones who are selfish and they are like, well, I had a shitty life too. Now my son's gonna have a shitty life because I don't want to change, and I'm gonna pass this generational trauma down. Or my daughter, whatever it is, I'm a prostitute, my daughter's gonna be a prostitute too. I literally just saw a video about this.
Well, that's my whole point. So real quick, you just said, but you hit it on the nail. You said if you were a gang member, but you actually made it out. Most people who are gang members who made it out or grew past that life, even if their children ever endeavor in gang banging, they already know what the blueprint is for them to get out. So a lot of times our parents see things as phases. Like, you're not really tough, you're just going through a phase. Some people don't make it. Some people end up with 25 to life and have to figure out that phase for a long extended period. Some people have to figure out that phase for the rest of their life. But the parent who made it out, who sees that same person, they already know what the next step is if they do follow your behaviors. So I actually push back on that by saying, you don't want your kids to gangbang. You want them to avoid that phase altogether. But if they so happen to do that, you would only hope that they follow the blueprint that you follow to get out of that and elevate to a new life. So I'm sure a lot of people who are really bad kids, or maybe spent some time, or they got in this type of trouble, that type of trouble, they destroyed this, destroyed that. When their kids do the same thing, they're like, damn, I remember doing it at that time, same thing, same happening, but I know what happens next. Like, I know what the person who came into my life and taught me different said to me that I'm about to tell this dude. And they're not going to listen.
Exactly, they have to,
and they're
going to
have to take time.
Because they know that, I know that if my son doesn't get out of this lifestyle, he's going to end up dead or in jail. So he has to take the time to be like, listen, you know, because kids are like, well, you used to be a crip, you used to do this, you used to do that, whatever. That person who's matured and grown out of that lifestyle has to sit down and have that real conversation, like, this is why I stopped doing it, or this is why you need to stop doing it. You're going to end up like this, or this. Honestly, those types of kids, it's probably hard to get them out of it until, again, they are in a situation where they have no choice but to change their perspective, or like what we were talking about earlier, they have to experience something themselves in order for something to actually change. Maybe they have to get shot 7 times. Maybe they have to go to jail. Okay. I'm just saying, no, I'm being serious. In order for that to actually click in their head that, like, okay, this isn't the life I want to live. And I'm not just saying gangbanging, anything like that. It could be anything.
It could be anything.
It
can be something as simple.
Pregnant by 18 years old. Men can literally have multiple kids, and it's like, okay,
But it could be something as simple as wanting to knock kids out. Your daddy was a boxer who was known for knocking people out. You want to be a boxer known for knocking people out. But the dad didn't elevate until he became a much more skilled, developed fighter compared to wanting to just knock kids out. It could be the smallest thing. It could be the biggest thing. Going back to the Nick Cannon situation, I want to say,
dad is going to be teaching him from a young age the skills that the dad has already possessed and learned.
We got far off of like the Nick Cannon scenario. I want to get a little bit back on it. Well, I want to get a little bit back on it, but it's like, okay. I think a lot of it's being proud. I think if Nick Cannon's proud of his situation where he has women. Well, hold on. You don't know that. That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
He said
right?
that he does not.
There's probably
want
like
his daughter
7
to date
people who are gonna
somebody
watch
like
this
him.
show. He gets watched by millions every single day. He says
And
things
Nick,
all the
if
time in front of a
anybody-
camera. But listen. He says things all the time in front of a camera, but we don't know who he is when he goes home. We don't know what he's like when he's with each one of his children. We don't know what he's like when he's in his own room with his own thoughts. That's what I'm saying. You got to learn. Don't laugh at folks.
You don't know,
Learn.
and I'm not. But
Here's my point. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying
My
if
point
he is proud, it's a if.
He's not, because
Well,
he
you don't know
literally
that.
said.
See, that's a if.
he-
That's a if.
No,
You can't. I'm not.
but
See, my
you
platform is
started-
not for lying on folks' name. You can't
You
lie on people's name.
started the conversation.
I'm
by
just saying. First of all, you can't let me finish.
Babe, you started the conversation by saying he said he would not want his daughter to date somebody like him.
Okay,
Doesn't
now here's
matter
my
if
point.
He continues to be himself. He knows that that's just who he is. He somewhere deep down has to be like, okay, maybe I haven't made the right decisions. Maybe I'm not the best guy. I would never want my daughter to deal with somebody like this. Do you think
Okay,
that's
so
something that
pause.
somebody said that they would be proud of?
No,
Like, you think
now
anybody
listen,
who is
listen,
proud of
listen,
themselves would
listen.
say something like
Going back to the gang member. The gang member's not proud of his life because let's say being a gang member is not even that bad. But let's say somebody was doing something in their life and they grew from it. They're proud of growing from it. You don't know that, man. And what I'm saying when I say that is maybe he doesn't want his daughters to go through the same pain points that the women he's dealing with are experiencing or had to get to a certain point before everything was green. Like maybe he doesn't want his daughters to have to go through that growing pain. But to say he's not proud of his children or the way he went about having his children, that's not something you know.
I'm not saying he's not proud
Maybe
of them
he's
at all.
speaking to the actual pain points of what it's like to have to deal with a man like himself.
Exactly. I don't think
That's
we're saying
pain points.
anything
That has
different right
nothing to
now.
do with proud. Like his pride and who he is as a person and the way he conducted
He
himself.
knows that he's
and having
caused
his
probably
children.
12 different women pain and 12 different kids.
Well,
different
that's not
types
true
of pain.
because
Because he can't- that's
a man,
exactly what
a
you just
single
said.
family household with a husband, a wife, and 3 children go through plenty of pain points and throughout the course of their life. Plenty.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, everybody in this lifetime, that's why it's a learn, not laugh thing. I don't have the full context of what he said. I'm just taking a little sound bar that I saw. I'm not saying that he said anything too crazy. I just know that he said he probably doesn't want his daughters to date somebody like him. Maybe it's just dealing with a man like him. Maybe it's dealing with a man who conducts themselves like him. Maybe it's the idea of an entertainer. We don't know none of those things. What I'm saying is looking at Nick Cannon and his level is just a starting point where it's like, why wouldn't you want your children to do exactly what you did? And it's because there's a lot of pain points that you probably don't want them to experience, and you can only hope that they have better, like every parent would.
Absolutely. You should always want better for your kids than what you had or whatever, that their situation. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying at all. I think that probably though, with that statement, he probably realizes that he's done some sort of wrong in some aspect.
But-
which is very mature for him to realize that, you know, and it's just like, yeah, you've already done it. You are already there with your 12 kids, but it does take somebody mature to be like, okay, I wouldn't want my daughter to deal with this. I wouldn't want, I would want better for my daughter. I would hate for my daughter to be a baby mama of fucking one of 12 baby mamas. Am I allowed to cuss on here? Sorry.
You can. I'll blur out most. But with that being said, that has been another edition of ABell at Night. We were joined here by my Shnukems. Shnukems, I appreciate you for all your support in my journey. And I am very, very grateful. And I know that I will never delete my original videos. All of this is a learning process. If you come back to this after I have millions and millions of views, just remember the core people who helped me start this channel, and my Shnukems was a huge one.
I'm very proud of you, baby. I love watching you grow and continue to be yourself and explore your creativity every day.
Well, thank you, love. And just remember, by the time I make it, just remember it. It was all by design. It was all by design. If you ever make it back to this very video, just know that my journey was by design, and I had to push myself. It could be 10 years from today. This is the first time you might see 1 million views. I want you to come all the way back to this moment and think about this conversation and understand where this man was when he was 27. And at 55, he's gonna be talking tonight. No, I'm just joking. Thank you. This has been another episode of ABell at Night. Peace.
Bye. I love you.